Hey everyone, welcome to what I hope will be a new show. I'm calling it Mark at the Movies, and what I'm going to do is just talk a few minutes about a movie I've seen in theaters. And it's nothing fancy, no fancy edits, nothing cool. Just me and my opinion on a movie I saw recently in theaters. So for this first episode, it's going to be Season of the Witch with Nicolas Cage. I went into this thinking it was going to be pretty awful. I just thought it'd be fun to see Nick Cage do his thing, and it turned out to be a half decent movie. I guess this happens when you go into something without any expectations. What can I point out? The CGI at the beginning of the movie was pretty bad. It gave a bad first impression. It starts off on a crusade where they're doing a siege, and it just don't sound like they couldn't be bothered to actually find a real desert to go to film this. They just filmed it on a green screen and made a really crappy looking desert. That threw me off at first. So there was that bad aspect to it. But then you get to see a Nicolas Cage and Ron Perlman hang out together like they've been buddies their whole lives. And it basically shows them going throughout a decade doing sieges and killing lots of people for the Crusades. And at one point they kill an innocent woman, and after that Nick Cage is like, "Oh, I can't do this anymore, it's too bad, I can't kill in the name of God." And he and Ron Perlman quit and just start traveling the world and just trying to find what to do. And the story leads them to a village where they get found out, and the only way that they'll let them go is if they take this supposed witch with them to a monastery and have her face trial for being a witch. So that's the main story of the movie. There's a pretty decent sequences in here. There's one sequence on a bridge where they have to cross chariot and get across like a rickety old bridge that's falling apart, and it's actually pretty stressful, especially if you're afraid of heights. This is going to be a really exciting scene for you. There's also the whole thing that for a while you're wondering if the witch is really a witch or if she's just a girl that's been falsely accused. There's that intrigue for a little while. If you've seen the trailers, you can pretty much tell whether she is or not, and they give it away. But it doesn't really detract too much from the movie, because at the end there's another revelation that shows that what she really is, and it makes it kind of interesting. What other things can we point out? There is a guy who's a traitor, not traitor, like a trader. He trades things, and they ask him to. He's the one who shows them the trail, and it's the guy who plays Tommy in Snatch. You know, like Turkish is his buddy, and yeah, he's pretty much the same character. He's kind of a bit of a wuss and a little bit sleazy, and but he's fun to watch. You also get this part where I don't know if it's Max von Sydow or it's just his voice, where it's this guy, this old guy's in bed and he's got like lumps growing on his face because there's a plague going around, and it's pretty funny watching him, because I can't tell if it's him or it's just his voice. Plenty of other fun things. One regret I have though, it's not bloody at all. Like you can tell this is like a PG or PG-13 movie. It's like they stab and kill lots of people, but I never see a drop of blood or anything, which is disappointing. With these kind of movies, you'd expect some sort of blood to it. There's a part with some wolves that attack, which also would have been an opportunity to show some violence and gore, but they just kind of stab them and they die. These wolves are also supernatural, kind of. They have like a demon face. I don't know how to describe it. And Nicolas Cage, he's Nicolas Cage. I mean, if you can get around the fact that he's pretending to be a knight, which is already pretty ridiculous to begin with. And he doesn't have many his Nicolas Cage freakouts in this one. He's pretty subdued. Though there is one part where he's talking to Max von Sydow, and they're trying to get him to go on the witch trek, and Nicolas Cage says no at first, and he says, the old guy says, didn't you make a vow to the church and to God and to the church that you have to do these things? And Nicolas Cage just goes, I no longer serve the church. It was so funny that even later on, like Ron Perlman does his imitation of Nick Cage to make fun of him. It was a pretty good scene. Ron Perlman is always great. He steals a lot of the scenes that he's in, just being himself. There's a part earlier in the movie where it shows them in a bar, like after one of their sieges, and he's like just sitting there like like a girl on each arm, and he's drinking beer. What a guy. But I find he's a bit Nicolas Cage's bitch during the entire movie. Like anything Nicolas Cage says, he just goes along with it, never saying, "Hey, I don't really want to do this." No, he just goes along with it. I guess he's the tough friend who's always loyal to him to the end. So that's all I have to say for now. It's a pretty decent movie. If you guys see him for cheap, you won't get disappointed. I wouldn't say expect it to be very good, but it's not total shit like the January release usually is. And I mildly recommend it. If you like this kind of stuff, check it out. If you just want to see Nick Cage, you can go see it too. So yeah.
Ho, 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 it's my